Mayor Davis, you don't have the power to do this. You need Premier Ford to say, yes, I'm prepared to use the notwithstanding clause to set aside these civil rights because the situation is so urgent, and therefore we'll give you the power to do what you feel you need to do. That's the argument you're making to Doug Ford. Have you heard back from him on whether he's prepared to entertain that idea?
Well, Steve, that's not the argument we're making. If you look at what the OBCM has done, and the essence of what we're done, we're asking the province to, in particular, look at for example, a drug diversion court, and implementing that province-wide and providing the necessary supports for that.
You're not making that argument. You're not making the argument.
No, we're making that argument. And when it comes to the mental health,
no, you're not making the argument about the notwithstanding clause because you put water in your wine and decided to pull that. To get a resolution.
But you seem to be suggesting that you have to use a Section 33 notwithstanding clause. You want to improve the mental health act. That's not necessarily the case.
I'm not saying you have to do anything. I'm just saying, obviously, Mayor Liggett's one, Mayor Nuttall's another one, Mayor Carter's another one who says that you may have to do this. Have you asked the Premier if he'd do it? And if so, what did he say?
Well, the OBCM has asked the province to do an in-depth review of the Mental Health Act and also the Drug Diversion Court System, also the Trespass to Property Act, and that's what we're looking forward to the province doing, taking an in-depth look at that. And depending on what they decide they do to respond to this, it may, by necessity, require use of the Section 33 notwithstanding clause. But that's not the thrust of what we're asking the province to do.
Do you think you should be asking the province to use the notwithstanding clause?
It depends on what it is you're trying to do and whether or not you think you need to use a Section 33 notwithstanding clause to achieve it, right? I gave you the example of bail reform. If you're going to do bail reform, you have to consider it. It depends on what you do with the Mental Health Act. For example, community treatment orders. They're a great method for encouraging people to continue with receiving the treatment they receive. And that's where they're released from a facility and they have to follow a treatment program and community nurses check on them. The problem I'm hearing from those who are involved in that system is it's not long enough. They're only in place for 6 months. So, for example, one of the things the province can do is extend the period for community treatment orders. Would that require Section 33 of the notwithstanding use of that clause? I'm not sure. But so your equation, which is if you do anything, you have to use Section 33, is not correct. But I agree with Mayor Carter. This is a crisis. It's an urgent crisis. We need to take decisive action, and that may require Section 33. If it does require Section 33, then we're asking the province and the federal government to consider that, given the ultimate goal of what you're trying to do. You're trying to make sure people recover. And they have a pathway to a healthy lifestyle. What's wrong with that?
Mayor Liggett.
Well, I would say that if we're asking the Premier to take this huge, massive step, then we have to have the steel in our backbone to say, yes, this is necessary. We've got your back. Please have our backs.
And do you? Do you, as a group of mayors, have that steel in your back?
Well, I would say a large part of us did. We work by consensus in that caucus, though. So we tried to come out with the best motion that we could put together based on all the different viewpoints around the room. When we went into it, I would say, yes, we probably did have the majority for that. But working by consensus, that's how we got the water in the wine, as you would put it. I agree with you 100%.